Man has hunted since the beginning of time. What began with crude weapons and animal images scrawled on cave walls has developed into a multi-million-dollar industry. From the Tilton Hiltons to the mansions in the marsh, we hunt and we cook. Everything from rabbits and raccoons to deer and ducks, while learning about the passion of sportsmen through the ages. Man's love affair with hunting is really not about the kill, but how to prepare a sumptuous wild game banquet after the hunt. Now get that camouflage apron and join me, Chef John Folse, for another Taste of Louisiana.
Funding for After the Hunt with Chef John Folse is brought to you by the Baton Rouge Area Convention and Visitors Bureau. Day is dawning on the Mississippi River and the sun is shining on Baton Rouge. Attractions, shopping, food, and Southern hospitality you know and love. Go BR and go brighter. And the Foundation for Excellence in Louisiana Public Broadcasting. Our mission is to tell Louisiana's story to the world. And by the Louisiana Department of Culture, Recreation, and Tourism. Vacation planning guides are available at louisianatravel.com. You wait all year for your vacation. Don't sleep through it.
All right. All right there, Rick. How you doing there, Speed? You doing all right? How you doing, man? Nice to see you. Nice to see y'all. How y'all doing, everybody? Hey, everybody, thank you so much for joining me in Sportsman's Paradise for another edition of A Taste of Louisiana. I'm delighted to have all of you here in our studio audience, as well as all of our viewers across the nation. So nice to have all of you sitting down in front of the TV sets as well. I'd like to introduce our kitchen musicians today, Neil and Donna Wilkinson. Give them a big hand over there. All right. I want to hear some good stuff today, some good animal music, okay? It's always nice to have them in the studio. Most of you know that Louisiana was colonized by the French, owned by the Spanish, given back to France, then sold to the United States of America with the Louisiana Purchase in 1803. The Louisiana Territory was comprised of 885,000 square miles, making up 13 states, and was purchased for $15 million. Pretty good deal, huh? Good deal. 4 cents an acre. I sold my land last year for that, 4 cents an acre. Following the Louisiana Purchase came Lewis and Clark in the Corps of Discovery expedition, or hunting expedition as it really almost turned out to be, all the way to the Pacific coast. Y'all, let's watch what they did. One of the great American hunting expeditions is arguably the journey of Lewis and Clark in the Corps of Discovery. With the Louisiana Purchase in 1803, President Thomas Jefferson commissioned an overland expedition to the Pacific coast, with Captain Meriwether Lewis leading the expedition and Captain William Clark sharing the command.
Jefferson believes that there might be some sort of short portage between the Missouri and the Columbia rivers. He also wants the Americans to get to Oregon so that they have a claim to this region, because already, of course, native people are there. But the British are there, the Spanish are there, and the Russians of all people are there.
The group headed west from Camp Dubois in Illinois Territory. They passed the last white settlement at La Charette and ventured into present-day Kansas City, Missouri, and Omaha via the Missouri River. Lewis divided the Corps into 3 groups. Every evening, each group received a day's provisions, which were cooked immediately. Half of the foods was cooked and eaten that day, the other half the following day. On one day, hominy and lard were provided. The next day, salt pork and flour were given. The third day, cornmeal and pork were administered. Cooking was never allowed during the day. Given the rations provided and having to eat these rations cold on the second day made fresh meat a welcome addition to the diet. Hunting was an absolute necessity for survival on the voyage.
Well, hunting is where they get most of their meat. Well, there is one estimate where a scholar estimates these guys were eating 9 pounds of meat a day on average. From the time they leave St. Louis to the time they reach the Rockies, they're able to have fresh meat almost every day. They're killing deer, antelope, bison, bear.
George Drouillard proved to be the most accomplished hunter of the expedition. He, along with 7 other hunters and Private Silas Goodrich, the chief fisherman of the voyage, kept the expedition fed as best they could. The journals of both Lewis and Clark are filled with their notations and comments about fish and game. During the final week of August 1804, the Corps reached the edge of the Great Plains. Game and fish were plentiful. Elk, deer, buffalo, and beavers abounded.
Clark has an affection for beaver's tail, and he mentions this at least a couple of times. They mention buffalo humps. They also like elk meat.
At times, Lewis wrote of how well they ate. My fare is really sumptuous this evening. Buffalo humps, tongues and marrow bones, fine trout, parched meal, pepper and salt, and a good appetite. The last is not considered the least of the luxuries. These were true American explorers. They trod where no United States citizen had ever been. They mapped the American West. They cataloged plants and animal species, developed relationships with Native Americans, and strengthened the United States claim to the Oregon Territory. Together, they carved the destiny of men and a nation. All right. Well, hey, thank y'all so much. The core of discovery, I want y'all to think about Lewis and Clark leaving the Missouri River with about 31, 32, I'm not sure exactly how many people were on that voyage, about that many, and taking off. No cell phones, no iPods, no iPads. Yeah, I think you get the idea. And then splitting up and deciding that they're going to meet somewhere else across the Rockies. I can't figure out how they were going to do that. But we need to give Lewis and Clark a hand because they absolutely charted the whole thing. There you go. They talked. One of the passages in the Lewis and Clark journals that I love, Clark wrote about Charbonneau, the French interpreter who ended up being a great cook, making boudin after killing a buffalo. And why don't you have one right here, Doctor, and you go ahead. See if you can taste that pre-Missouri River taste. Huh? All right, Teresa, you come on up. And Teresa's going to pass out boudin to the gang. Give Teresa a hand here, y'all. All right, y'all, I have a couple of people to introduce here. First, Doctor, you get the rice off of your face over there and off of this. Dr. Roger Carpenter, history professor and a great authority on Lewis and Clark. And what an expedition that was, huh? I mean, to just take out, tell us a little bit about that journey.
The whole Louisiana Purchase, nobody's quite sure where the borders were. And they go to the Pacific Coast to establish an American claim there. They also had a letter.
Other people may have wanted to claim it first had they not gone.
Right. Well, like I said, the British were there, the Spanish were there, and the Russians were there.
The Russians, that was interesting to me as well.
Yeah. And they were supposed to wait for a ship under any flag, had a letter from the president. Yeah. Okay, you take these guys back to the East Coast of the United States and we'll pay the bill, and no ships, so they had to walk back.
It's amazing, in all early colonization, that second ship never showed up. You notice that? They never showed. They're always waiting for the second ship, and they were no different, huh? Okay, y'all, well, we're going to talk a little bit more about that, but I want to thank you. Thank you, Teresa. That was very nice for you to do that for us, huh? Did you keep any boudin for yourself? Okay, well, good. All right, y'all, look on my platter here. This is one of Lewis and Clark's favorite dishes. This is bear meat here. Oh, yeah. What huh? Y'all like bear meat or what, huh? Huh? And what? Bear, huh? You love bear meat? Huh? Now, I have to say, bear is illegal in Louisiana. You cannot go out and kill it. You have to go up to Michigan or somewhere like that to kill it. But it's a great meat. Take a look at how beautiful it is. And what I'm doing with the bear meat today is one of those early recipes that said they had to marinate. And you notice my garnish? Put my garnish on the tray here. we're marinating it in garlic and carrots and celery, onions, putting a little lemon juice on it like that. And I put it in a bowl. I'm going to do this right here. Let me just kind of throw a little bit in there for you to see how we did it. We're going to put the bear on top of some of the seasoning, and then the garlic gets rubbed into it like that. The bay leaves. Is this the way you do your bear? Do you do yours just like this? Come on, if you do it differently, you can share. You can share recipes with me. Share the bear, so to speak. Yep, share the bear. Okay, a little bit more lemon juice, and then peppercorns and juniper berries and thyme and basil, all those wonderful things. Shotgun shells, 2 of those in there. Oh, yeah. And then you let it sit at least 2 days. 3 to 4 days better. Now, I have one already marinated. In fact, I'm going to move this out of the way so you can see it. I have one already marinated, and I'm going to go right into, look how nice this looks. Isn't this the most beautiful piece of bear meat you've ever seen? Now, it's not as tasty as the bear claws, and I don't mean the pastry. I mean the actual bear claws, which they really love. They really love to put on a spit and roast. And they really enjoyed the bear meat, huh? Bear and deer. What were some of the meats they ate on that trip?
Well, deer, antelope, bison, bear, of course. Also, when they reached the Pacific coast, they tried whale blubber.
Whale?
Yeah, they tried whale blubber. They tried just about everything once, it seems like. Yeah. Just about every species of fish, bird, they
had a really tough time, though. They had a tough time, almost ran into starvation. They had a lot of starving moments along the trip once they crossed the mountain range,
right? They had some starving moments, and that's when they went to some of the provisions, like stuff they called portable soup, which they pretty much tried to avoid eating.
They said in their journals that one day they ran across an Indian tribe that was as starving as they were, and they killed a deer, and immediately the Indians pounded onto the deer, ripped it apart, and started to eat all the entrails raw. That reminds me of high school. That's what we did in high school, huh? Same thing. Y'all look at this. The bear is browning nice. Isn't that beautiful? And I'm going to go into it like this now. All of the marinating ingredients, once it's nice and golden brown, and I want to encourage all of the Louisiana cooks and all of you out there in television land, stuff this thing with garlic and herbs and rosemary. Do all that wonderful stuff. This is the old recipe, but make it a modern one in your own fashion or your own style. So this is going to go on to here. We're going to add a little bit. They use port wine. I don't know where they got port from in the Mandan territory, but they had a little port. I'm using camellia wine, homemade using camellia flowers, just a little bit. What? Bear loves wine. Huh? Bear loves wine. A little bit of this Creole seasoning. Y'all, there's more Creole seasonings in Louisiana than you can shake a stick at, and I can't choose my favorites. I use them all. I just put them all. I don't want to be partial to any one of them, so all of them going. Now, I would let this cook with a lid on it. It's going to take about, well, this is bear, y'all. It takes about 3 hours. 3 hours. And then you check it. And after 3 more hours, yeah, I'm just kidding. It takes come on, y'all awake or what here, huh? It takes about 3 hours really to tenderize this piece of meat, and then it's really beautiful. It's just a nice roast. And I have some already done. I want you to take a look at this. Let me get a little pot holder here because this is a hot little skillet. I have some blueberry sauce because they use wild blueberries in it. I want to show you what I have here. I have the roast sitting right on top of the counter. It's been braising in that liquid for 3 hours. Now I'm going to put, I guess so. Are y'all seeing this or what, huh? Look at that. Look, let me tell you something. Blueberries make bear meat just a little bit more palatable, huh? But it's actually a beautiful meat, fork tender, very, very nice, very, very nice, y'all. Wonderful stuff. Well, I tell you, Lewis and Clark wrote a lot about beaver, one of my favorite meats. And we took a trip over to Giles Island. We went out with Rick Tramonto and we cooked beaver tail according to Lewis and Clark's recipe. Y'all watch it. We're here today on beautiful Giles Island, right outside of Natchez. I guess we should be at the headwaters of the Missouri. We should be in St. Louis, where Lewis and Clark was leaving from in about 1803 or 04, after being commissioned by Thomas Jefferson to head west and map this whole new United States. And one of the things that they wrote about, Rick, is beaver tail, the foods that they ate along the trip. Now, Rick Tramonto, being a great chef from Chicago, I figured I should send into Louisiana, bring into Louisiana to experience beaver tail for the first time. This is the modern day Lewis and Clark, right? Right. What do you think of our main entree?
You know, I'm amazed. I'm excited. I'm excited to see it turn into whatever it's going to turn into.
Well, Lewis and Clark had a fabulous French chef, Charbonneau. And Charbonneau, they kept journals about his adventures in cooking. He did Boudin Blanc out of Buffalo. They described their excitement whenever they had a fresh catch of beaver, and of course beaver tail. So we wanted to experience what the beaver tail was all about. The beaver itself, I should mention, absolutely fabulous meat, especially stewed or braised. So you ready?
I am.
Here's the tail, and I want everybody to look at it real closely. Look at it. I didn't say look away from it. Here's a nice little bone that runs straight through the center of the tail. Remember, this is what the beavers are moving with. And this white meat on each side is very fatty, and it has great flavor, and you can fry it as fillets of fish almost, or it's a great seasoning meat in beans, as Charbonneau often did on the trip. So I'm going to put a little oil. There's a thick skin on the outside of the beaver tail. You can go ahead and throw some flavor down on there.
Is it almost like a Dover sole where you actually fillet it or you peel it?
I don't think Charbonneau had any idea. I think they loved it so much. Yeah, well, when it goes onto a hot fire, the outside skin blisters, and you peel it almost like the skin of let's say the skin of a football, y'all. And what do we do with it now? I have a hot coal fire, and as Clark said,
throw it on
the fire. Let's do it. Now, you're going to just go ahead. You can see that the skin is very thick around the edge, and the white meat is what we're looking for in the center. Mm-hmm. So why don't you just go ahead and cut right through that. The outer skin, we would use either, there you go. You see how the skin is separating right there?
Beautiful.
Just going to go right through it like that. And y'all, this is what we're looking for right here. And the inner white meat, which is very nice and white and juicy, can be used as fat, can be used to flavor beans. So y'all don't run away from beaver tail. All right. Now how many of you are gonna run out to grilled beaver tail? Huh? Come on, let me hear it. Let me hear it. Huh? All right, you will. Y'all, you're probably asking yourself, where does a chef or where does a cook go to get beaver tail? Well, is that what you ask yourself? Yeah, she said, yeah, I was just asking myself that. Well, I'm lucky because I have one of the greatest trappers, and I guess Trapper John Schmidt calls himself a nuisance trapper because he goes out and catches animals. Like let's say a lady calls and said, I have an alligator in my backyard trashing up my garbage can, which happens here quite regularly, right? So they would call you, right, Trapper? Huh? Yep. Now you would go on over there and pull it out, right? Get it out of there.
Well, actually, if it's an alligator, that's what you said, right?
Yeah, alligator. Right?
No, I can't do alligators.
You can't do alligators. I need an alligator hunter here, please, right away. Huh?
But if it was a beaver?
If it was a beaver, like I had here.
Yeah, if he was damming up someone's ditch, a canal on an industrial site or otherwise, or a drainage site, then I would be called in for that.
Now, you trap them live, right? And then you relocate them? Or
state law is I have to kill them.
You have to kill them.
Right.
Thereby, I get alligator. I get a tail. I get beaver tail, huh? That's how I get it, huh?
Yeah. Now, But if you want one to cook like this, I would have to catch it alive so
right.
that it would be fresh enough for you to cook.
That's right.
That's right.
And I wanted to tell you a couple of times they weren't quite fresh enough to cook, but they were still good.
Well, they were still alive.
They were still very good. A little salt. That's when I made the sauce pecan.
I don't know if they're that good when they're alive.
Now, you told me that you were upset because you brought a birthday present for me, and I showed everybody's birthday present but yours. Right. What did you get for me?
Well,
wow.
Armadillo.
All right, there it is. Huh? Well, you talk about good eating. This is holiday meals. This is served on the half shell right here. Huh? Now, this was a nuisance animal, too.
Yes, he was.
And you got it up. Hey, thanks for bringing me this. This is absolutely fantastic. I appreciate that. Huh?
No problem.
All right, y'all, I want to bring up my good buddy, Rick Tramonto, Chef Rick Tramonto from Chicago. Give him a hand here. All right, good to see you, man. Get over here on the range.
Before we get started, though, everybody gave John a present. I got to be able, my mom said you always have to come with a present.
Thank you, Mom.
What do you get a guy that has everything, okay? You get him, you give him, not just an apron. You give him this kind of.
All right, All right, I keep this on, I can just sport my LSU colors here, huh? No? Absolutely. Well,
okay.
The LSU loves tailgating.
Yeah.
You see a lot of this stuff. Okay, Rick, you and I cooked the beaver tail, and it was so we used it for a little seasoning need. But today we're using beaver, and you were very interested. Look how dark red.
Love the color, unbelievable.
But look at the texture of it. I mean, very soft, so you know it's going to cook up very tender, right?
Beautiful.
By looking at it. Now, so look, I have some browning already, and I have this dark brown roux. Let me kick up this dark brown roux a little bit here. That's pretty nice right there, right?
That's beautiful.
So what we have here, now Rick, to make a stew like this, y'all, when we're cooking beaver and we make it a stew, we have to begin with the dark brown roux, right? Now, I know you've cooked dark brown roux in Chicago, but do you?
Not this good.
Not this good. Not this dark.
Not this dark.
Not this.
That's the deal.
You know why it's this dark?
Why is that?
When you're cooking beaver, you need to shadow it with something. You have to give it a little extra flavor in there. So we make our roux really dark. So look, Brown, why don't you go ahead? Roux, y'all, equal parts of oil and flour, a cup of flour, a cup of oil, cooked to about 385 degrees to get that nice dark brown color. And Rick's going to put the brown beaver right into the pot here. Let me get him some good fire going. And you're just going to go ahead and move that around nicely there as well. Now, how many beavers do they call you out in a year's time? How many nuisance beavers do you have to move out?
It really varies. It could be 5 or it could be 25.
Yeah. What do you do with the other 20?
I feed them to alligators.
Oh, see that? There's the alligator. See? He's got to deal with the alligator guy. See? All right. So now we have all of the. Let me show you this before I pull it off of here. You have the beaver browning. Y'all look at here. Onions, celery, bell pepper, the Trinity. Everything has the garlic. A lot of garlic in our cooking, Rick.
Beautiful.
Carrots, tomatoes. Why don't you go ahead and spoon all of those in right above that. Just throw them on in there, just get them in. I started off with bacon fat, y'all. Not just any bacon, but I want you to look at this. The really nice dark brown bacon from the country smokehouses. Smell that. Huh. Talk about wow, huh? Okay, now once all of this is mixed in, we're going to come in and add a couple of other vegetables. We want to just kind of smother that beaver. I don't know how y'all do your beaver. I normally... what's wrong, Nancy?
Hand me that right there.
Huh?
No, the red one.
You haven't done too many. Well, this might be your first, but you're going to
put
love
some
it.
pop in it, no?
Huh? No. So that's going to be really nice right there. I'm going to add a couple things to it. I'm going to add the chayote squash, the wonderful Melitone, Louisiana. I'm going to put the vegetables in there. This is a hearty stew, y'all. I'm going to put turnips in it. You like turnips in a good stew?
Turnips.
Oh, man, I love turnips too.
Turnips and prunes.
Oh, turnips and prunes.
My favorite.
Don't come around me.
I'm telling you. I'm telling you, my brother.
Oh, no. I don't want to even hear it.
Brother.
Turnips and prunes on the same day. You stay away from me.
I'm all about it.
Have a little Creole mustard. So anyway, you get that really good, just mix that around. Y'all, I'm going to come and put a little beaver stock in here. You can use any kind of stock you want. You can use beef or chicken.
Don't y'all have beaver stock in your freezer?
Of course you got beaver.
Like in the little ice cube trays?
Yeah, get a little ice cube tray of beaver stock in there. But the texture of beaver, y'all, absolutely fantastic. I'm going to add it in there. And while Rick is stirring around to make a stew, take a look at the finished product right here. Really, really a nice, beautiful dish. The meat is absolutely incredible, wonderful flavor. You have to try beaver, everybody. You have to try it. Well, thanks to every one of you for being on Trapper John. Thanks for the birthday gift. Thanks, Rick, for cooking with us. And thanks to all of you for joining us in the swamps of Louisiana. And remember that man's love affair with hunting is never about the kill or the skill. It's all about the fabulous feast right here after the hunt. See you next time on A Taste of Louisiana. Let's taste of that, Rick.
To purchase the After the Hunt cookbook by Chef John Folse, an After the Hunt t-shirt, or program DVD, call the number on your screen. Funding for After the Hunt with Chef John Folse is brought to you by the Baton Rouge Area Convention and Visitors Bureau. Day is dawning on the Mississippi River and the sun is shining on Baton Rouge. Attractions, shopping, food, and Southern hospitality you know and love. Go BR and go brighter. And the Foundation for Excellence in Louisiana Public Broadcasting. Our mission is to tell Louisiana's story to the world. And by the Louisiana Department of Culture, Recreation, and Tourism. Vacation planning guides are available at louisianatravel.com. You wait all year for your vacation. Don't sleep through it.